these questions and answers, you get what you put into the class. If you like to sit here and be bored, I'm not that type of person. If you're energetic and you really want to be safe and you know we're going to be driving in the snow, you're like, what does it really feel like? How do we know when we're in danger? How do we know when we're under control? You'll be able to feel the car grip the snow, grip the ice. You'll also be able to feel the car when we lose control. So the key thing is you don't want to panic, because if you panic, we're going to put the car in the ditch. You're going to rear end the car. You're going to fishtail into the intersection. So my job is to prevent that from happening. And then I ask you to put some questions in. So I'm going to go down to the bottom. What can I do to check that I am on track? My written portion of the driving test. You keep listening to me. I do my quizzes. I do my Kahoots. Because I'm a teacher, teachers, coaches, school bus drivers, retired police officers make really good instructors, right? We're passionate. We care about the law. We want the next generation to be safe. You don't want someone teaching kids how to drive who hates kids, right? Like all of you been in the class where you've had a terrible substitute. They just sit there and let you do what you want. And you're like, I can't wait to talk to my teacher. They were terrible. They didn't do anything you left for them. I'm so happy you're back. Right? You know how it is when you have a bad sub. Or I love the sub. He or she was so good. The man just followed directions. John, he was crazy. She put John out. And she called John's mom. John's mom came up and handled him, right? She was so organized. She followed everything you left and gave us 10 minutes of free time. I love that sub. Okay? All of you know this. Okay? So, good preparation. Trust me, Lima, I have preparation, but we got to get this work done first. And if we don't get the work done, you will fall off. But it's your responsibility to study. I can provide some digital things for you, but if you guys don't study, then you're going to fail. There's no magic way. You can't just study this in one night, take a Monster Energy drink. I'm going to study, stay up all night. You're going to fail the test. You'll be tired, and you could end up going to the hospital. What is the best way to keep from losing control? Go slower in the turns, have good speed control. But because you're beginners, you don't know what speed is dangerous. You may know what speed is slow, but you don't know what speed is dangerous. And then when the light changes, you haven't learned how much room you need to stop. That is so pure. So you'll crash into a car because you stop too late and then the car slides. So you have to really want to learn. You have to really want to pay attention to your instructor. Some of you will do that. Some of you will get an attitude. And usually, I don't drive those students. So all of you are different. Man, that was crispy. Do I know that I am a makeup student? Um, I don't know who's a makeup student. I know my kids in here. Okay. I don't have a list of the makeup students. So you're in here because you need to do a makeup. You missed class or you got in trouble, you got kicked out. So, but we started at a certain time, you were here at a certain time, and then the company will look at the video. So if you dip out early, so that's that personal responsibility. So I don't have a list and I'm checking off the little babies. So some of you will do well in this environment and some of you will struggle because someone is not checking up behind you. I'll give you those honest responses. What can I do to check that I am on track? I already went over that one. I'm going from the bottom up. Um, are speed limits lower on ice and snow? Yes. Uh, every state has different rules. We have something called the basic speed law. If it's raining, snow, ice, fog, you must drive at a speed that's slower. If you don't, you can get a ticket because by it being dangerous weather outside, the opportunity for you to crash is greater. Let's keep it moving, man. I'm just getting right to the point. What is the best way to keep from losing control in the snow? Drive slower, have good tires, wear thin sole shoes, but a lot of you will have boots on. Like I got on my dress boots. A lot of you will have like Converse on or big, thick shoes. And then you won't be able to feel the brake. So you want to squeeze the brake with the ball of your foot, and you'll learn how the car handles. The first time you drive the driver's ed car, you're going to be kind of really stiff and drifting to right and left. But once you relax, you're going to feel comfortable. How many points for rolling stop? I think it's 3 or 2. All you have to do is look it up. How should we approach driving on the road for the first time? Relax, listen to me, trust the process. Um, don't fight with your mom and dad if they're trying to take you out, which is illegal. I'm not your mom and dad. They may say, let's go to the parking lot and drive. I don't want to. I'm scared. I want to wait for my instructor. Let's go to the parking lot and drive. And then when I see you, you're like so angry. You got an angry face. I have a smile because I'm going to meet your mom and dad. Your dad's like, your mom's like, and then I ask your parents, are you the first one through? They're my last one. Okay, get in the car. They're my first one. Okay, parents, go live on Facebook as I show them how to adjust the seat and seat belt. Okay, usually the most nervous kid, I make drive first. And I tell you who drives first. You don't tell me. I look for leaders to walk to the front door. Yeah. How many points if you do not have identification? You have to look it up. It varies from state to state. How would you explain passing lane simpler? Make sure you can see the car in your back window and mirror. Use your blinker, look over your shoulder. If you can't see them in your rearview mirror, you're too close. That's good. Keep it simple. Someone who can't walk more than 200 feet, the state deems them physically handicapped, and they may be eligible for a temporary handicap plate. You have to get doctor's written statement and take it into the Secretary of State. They may call the medical office to verify. Some people might get fake medical records and pretend, but really that spot is for handicapped people. I learned that when doing driving things like gas tanker, school buses. Okay, you must stop. I thought I had more questions in this. I need more questions. Come on. I need more questions. This your class. I don't have to do this. I need everyone to put in questions. Christina.
I sent you a question. I asked you if you could go. I don't like really. It's just a vague question. Could you go in the roundabouts more? Like, could you talk more about it?
Girl, love you. Appreciate you. Plus, you're going to be driving tomorrow. Okay, roundabouts. They're a circular intersection. They have 3 stop signs or 4 stop signs or 4 yield signs. They're a round intersection, not square. They're safer because you have less chance of hitting someone or being hit. They allow you to move quick. They push large amounts of traffic through. If you're going to the right, you turn on your right turn signal before you enter. If you're going to the left, just before you enter, you turn on your left turn signal. If you're going straight through, you proceed through. They can be scary because people don't look before they go in. And as you go in, a truck is coming. You're like, oh my God, I'm about to be hit. So the biggest thing is go in slow. It's about 15 miles an hour going in. And you're going to see more roundabouts. And I try to take you on as many roundabouts as possible. I try to really over prepare you for your road test so you feel confident, you feel safe. Come on, man. I got this energy going, baby. You better be putting those questions in. Okay, because we're going to get to the next worksheet in a minute. Put those questions in. There's no stupid questions. And you should be asking as many questions as possible. You got someone who is an expert in the area. I'm an authority because I'm a driver's education instructor. I do road test prep. I teach adults. I teach teens. You got to like pick my brain. But some of you are like, bro, I just want to be here and get done. That's who you are. So I'm going to stay on course with passion and dignity and respect. And I can see who's hungry, and I can see who wants a super plate, and I can see who's putting in work, and I can see who's just laying back like, whatever, bro. But that's who you are. Sometimes my camera freezes. There's that beautiful man. Right? You got to love yourself before you can love others. What distance should you start idling and coming up to a stop? It depends on how fast you're going. It depends on if it's wet on the road, if it's snow, if it's ice, if it's slush, if your tires are new, if your tires are halfway worn, if your tires are bald. How heavy is your car? So I would say 5 cars. But remember, you have other factors. Are you driving a bigger truck, a smaller vehicle? So there are a lot of factors that take into account, but I can tell you're starting to think. You never want to slam brakes. Beginning driver slam brakes. This means we'll get rear-ended. I don't want to get rear-ended. This means another car will hit us, and then you fail, and you're crying, and I got to fill out a police report, and you know, you don't get. We don't want to go through that. So don't slam your brakes. What should you do if someone pulls out of the parking lot parallel to traffic? You yield, you look, you check. You always want to assume people don't see you. And when we go to downtown areas to park, I love it because people will walk out in front of us. Wait, bro, that doesn't make sense. Yes, I want to show you real life. So we go to downtown areas, we drive around 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16. You're going to make 16 right turns, 16 left turns. We'll get a parallel park. We'll do stall parking, angle parking. We'll switch every half an hour. So you got to know how to park. What should I do if someone else is upset and they engage in road rage? Number one, we want to ignore them. That makes them even more mad. So you want to ignore them. If you look at them, this means, hey, you want to fight? What's going on? Let's go. Because there's always someone crazier than you. Yeah. Let's keep going. Who is liable if someone is jaywalking? Great question. Come on, man, come on. That's a great question. So liable. If the pedestrian is walking on the wrong side of the road, that could be one reason. If the pedestrian is not walking near the crosswalk, I'm just giving, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not giving you legal advice, but the rules are always going toward the pedestrian first to protect them because you're in a car that's 4,000, 5,000 pounds and you could kill them. So if the pedestrian is not walking near the crosswalk on the wrong side of the road, and let's pretend you make a right turn and you hit them, well, first thing they're going to do is test you to see if you're under the influence of drugs and alcohol. And if you are, well, you're in trouble. Next, they're going to, if the person passed, they're going to do a toxicology test. My mom used to be a nurse. I should have been a doctor. And they're going to shut down the intersection. They're going to check cameras. They're going to check businesses by the intersection. Who really was at fault? Did the driver make a right turn on red when he or she wasn't supposed to and they broke the law, then hit them? Now you're in trouble. Did the pedestrian not look? Had a hoodie on? So there are a lot of variables in there. Hopefully you have a lawyer. Okay, let's keep going. What happens if you hit someone at night and they're wearing all black? Well, same thing applies. They're going to test you. They're going to look at the intersection. People wear dark colors all the time. The thing is, you want to be extra diligent because it gets dark at 5:30, people. And if you're going to drive during winter months, you got to drive when it's dark. I don't want to drive when it's dark. You mean you're going to wait to spring? You could be in your segment 2 with your favorite instructor. So you're going to have to drive when it's dark. And you don't have to do anything. But your parents are going to be like, we have a car for you. Your uncle has a job at his business. You're going to be driving the delivery truck. It's easy money. You're going to make $450 cash. That's all I'm going to say. $450 cash a week, but you can't get your life together. Some of you will have those situations. What if you get your learner's permit? Are you allowed to leave? Are you allowed to have multiple people in the car? No, because you have to be a certain age. The state does not want a bunch of teenagers in the car because they're going to distract you. Good questions. So let's kind of summarize. He talked about road rage, parking, pulling out in traffic. Also, if you're pulling out in traffic and you hit someone, you're at fault. You didn't yield. But also they'll check cameras. The officer will make the determination. The police officer will say, well, I looked at everything. I looked at what they told me. How was the car hit? I might have to check cameras in the area. They'll put together a preliminary report. But if you think they're wrong, Michael, they'll say, okay, get your lawyer. Well, we pulled a camera from across the street and the officer was wrong. Well, our officer had a camera from the right side and it shows this. So there's always two different views, right? Because most businesses have cameras and some drivers have dash cams. And then a lot of people report accidents on Facebook. Okay, so you never know who's watching you. So we talked about liability. Most of the time the law is in the pedestrian's favor. Just summarizing. Road rage, you don't retaliate, you get out of their way. Your insurance will go up if you hit someone or in an accident, whether you're at fault or not. If you keep getting involved in an accident, whether it's your fault or not, your insurance company will raise your rates and eventually they will drop you. Because the goal of an insurance company is to make money, not lose money. So, Sophia, if you're one of those drivers, I keep getting hit by a deer, or people keep backing into my car at school, or that girl who likes my friend keeps destroying my car and you keep filing a claim, the insurance company is going to drop you. So sometimes there are those weird situations. How do I know if, how do I know, how do I know, how do we know how soon to start braking? It depends on your speed. 5 car lanes, 7 car lanes. You will learn to judge distance really quick once you get into the car. It's an easy way to know where black ice is. The temperature, if it's below freezing, there's a potential for black ice because the moisture in there is now frozen. Black ice can be on elevated areas, bridges, curves. I like the questions we're starting to put in. How can I tell if the steering wheel is straight? You don't know as a beginning driver. It's usually a turn and a half, either direction. If you turn it a turn and a half, it's all the way to the right. If you turn it a turn and a half, the wheel's straight, the steering wheel's straight. If you turn it all the way to the left. So you as beginning drivers don't know when it's straight. So you keep turning the wheel to find out when your wheels are straight. Now we're starting to ask some good questions. Can the state make you redo all of your hours? Yes, they can. So if you act out of pocket, Grayson, you go wild, you lose your mind, they're going to make you redo it. Or they're going to put you on probation for more than 3 years. All of you are on probation for 3 years. You're newly licensed drivers. How would you describe your first time driving? Nervous. Mom was very speed conscious. Dad was really quiet. I would drive slow with my dad. I would drive fast with my mom. Yeah. What happens if you get a ticket? You won't get your license. Is it going to take longer? You'll cry. You'll get nervous. What's a good way to stay calm in the car? Relax. Trust me. Smile. I tell dad jokes because I'm a dad and I'm chilled. Is driving in the rain similar to driving in snow and ice? No, they're totally different. Rain, you might have more water. You're going to have splashing. The snow, kind of like a slush that you drink. It's kind of a soupy, kind of like you playing in the snow in the slush. You've done that before. The car will kind of slide and drift around. The rain will kind of make the car float a little bit. Jake, I love that question. Jake coming with some good stuff. Jake, I love that question. All right. I think we're good here. I like the question. Some of you starting. You got to keep a longer following distance on rough roads. If it's snow and ice, you keep more distance. But you're going to see people in a monster truck driving like 80, and you're like, oh my god, and I'm like, oh my god, and then they crash around the next curve and flip over, and we're like, told you. So you're going to see people who are disregarding because they have a big truck, they got big tires, they're going to drive really fast, and then those are the people who usually crash. Bye, Keegan. Okay, so I think we're good. I like the questions. Should you keep? Yeah, you should. Okay, awesome.